Before you start the video today, just want to give you a heads up. BitDynasty obviously agreed to chat with me for a little while today. Unfortunately, he was traveling. The internet was not super great. And we were able to have a nice chat, and I was able to edit out a lot of the issues that we may be having. But if you notice that there were, or that there are, any wonkiness or weird cuts in the video, that's why it's blank space. We were trying to get the connection back, so just wanted to give everyone a little bit of a heads up ahead of time. Enjoy.
There you go. Good morning, everyone. This is Tales off the Holotables with the intro that I'll never get right and sometimes will forget. I'm joined here with BitDynasty, who very fortunately agreed to give me some of your time on this Sunday morning. Normally I'm drinking a beer, but it's a little bit early, and we were talking about tea a few days ago, so I brewed myself up some apple cinnamon tea. Now, when we originally talked, you had mentioned that you don't really go on Reddit at all.
No.
So my question, I guess, and I don't want this to come off as pompous, I tend to be like one of the more prolific posters on the Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes subreddit. Have you heard my name before I reached out to you? Were you aware of what I did with the community?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
So it wasn't.
I mean, I wasn't exactly aware, but when I saw it's automation you maybe in on Reddit. I think it must be saying. Hello.
You might. Yes, I think you might be breaking up a little bit, so I didn't
Hello?
actually hear that part. Yes.
All right. Yeah. So when I saw your name on Discord, it did sound familiar. Probably like Arnold mentioned you in one of his videos. I would imagine that's where kind of probably heard the name before. Yeah.
So I guess the reason I was because when you had messaged, I'm always surprised when I reach out to people and they take a lot less convincing than I expect it to be. And when you were like, oh, I don't really go on Reddit, it's almost like a blind trust to say, oh yeah, I'm going to talk to this guy who I don't know who he is, or maybe I've heard of him once or twice, or Arnold's mentioned him once or twice. So I guess just going in, I was curious about that. Now, the one thing about you, I think going on Reddit, you're probably the most well-liked influencer, streamer in the entire community. There are constantly posts up like, hey, who's your favorite YouTuber? And there's always positives and negatives. And I don't think I've ever seen a negative mention about BitDynasty. It's always, this guy's awesome. He does what he does. He's great at what he does. I don't think I've ever seen a criticism.
Okay. All right. That's I don't know, obviously, because I'm not on Reddit, but obviously it's good to hear that what I do, that people find useful and helpful, because obviously lots of time goes into making all kinds of videos and guides. Yeah, because personally, I would not need to do that. Try to find all these, trying to find more accessible themes for conquest challenges and stuff like that, because in my roster I pretty much got everything more or less now. But I always try to make it helpful as much as I can.
I think that's where our approaches to the game differ a little bit, and I definitely respect when I do videos or even text posts, which is predominantly what I do. My goal is getting people to spend as little time as possible with the game, and I feel like you spend so much time trying to get other people on board with things, and I can't imagine. I already spend an hour and a half, 2 hours a day just finishing things as quickly as possible. So I can't even imagine the effort that goes into some of the videos that you do and the team compositions that you come up with. And I don't think I'd have a red crate on every conquest if not for some of your boss guides.
Yeah. I mean, bosses, they used to be much, I think, tougher in the first few rounds of Conquests, like, removing was like 400% meter versus Ray or stuff like that, right? So I think they've got a bit easier these days. It's just a case of, surviving, right? Certain unit has to survive. But they've been ramping up the difficulties lately again on some of these bosses, how hard they hit and things like that.
Well, especially last time, right? With the whole debacle in the beginning and the changes that they had to make.
Oh yeah, the previous run, with the what was it? Yeah, the Gamorrean, right? The Gamorrean mini boss in Sector 1 was already like boom. That
was a crazy one. Now, I guess the other thing I was wondering, I'm like, your guides come out so quick. Like, how quickly do you get through all 5 sectors? Do you just? I never go past my 50s, and I know obviously this is more your thing. How far into those refreshes do you go to get all of this stuff done? And when are you done with your stuff?
Yeah, obviously, I always preload the energy at the end of every Conquest, right? Like what 300 something you can preload. And then, anyway, on average, watch each sector, you need to do about, I don't know, is it 24 battles or something, right?
Something like that.
Yeah, so that's basically your free energy plus free 50 crystal refreshes. But obviously I'm testing and fooling around a little bit. So I never really go past the 100 crystal refreshes in most situations. Yeah, because anyway, I just do one sector a day, right? So, and you're starting with 300 energy already preloaded. So it's not as bad as it looks, right? Yeah.
Okay, so about this, I typically do the same thing, one sector a day, but I'm not spending time like experimenting too much. I might find a team that works really well and I'll share it, but like you kind of go into the nitty gritty and people rely on you very, very heavily. Now, I was looking through your channel. I typically, on Google, I'll type in, hey, BitDynasty, Sector 5, blah, 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 and there's always something that pops up. But I was going through your channel yesterday. And I think for the most part, you only really do content for this game. Is that this is the only game you play? Do you plan on going to something else if this ever stops?
Yeah, I mean, I used to play other games, not mobile games. It's really the only mobile game I play because mostly mobile games aren't very good. I used to play more games before, but as the life goes on, you have less time for that. Generally, I enjoy like story-driven games. So games like where also your decision have the outcome of the story.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So like if you think about Fallout series, and as well, I really enjoyed Knights of the Republic, always the Star Wars ones. Most recently, like Mass Effect series, I played all of that by 9 years or so. So it's not something that I play games all the time. It's just like every 2 years or so, a game that the series I followed has a good story, and I kind of play through it. Yeah.
That's as an educator, I find like I have time for maybe 1 or 2 games a year, and I think that's why I like the Star Wars game. Is I can play that on my lunch break. I can play it right before work, right after work. But then when I have like a week off or the summer, I'll say, Fallen Order or Jedi Survivor or the new Spider-Man game. So I probably get through about maybe 1, if I'm lucky, 2 games outside of the mobile games.
Yeah, I think the Survivor was the most recent one that I finished probably a couple of months ago. Then I had a start. What was it? Starfield, but I don't know. The story didn't really pull me that much yet. I didn't finish it. I'm kind of, I think, towards the end already, but I don't know.
But
it just
no motivation.
Funny story to put. Yeah, it didn't really pull me to that level of the game. Like I have to finish. It's also true. I travel often, so then I have breaks in between that I can't play, and then you kind of get out of the game, and then you forget about it. Actually, I completely forgot about it. I didn't finish it just now thinking about it. I already there's I think Assassin's Creed as well. Latest one at some point. I have to go for it as well. Yeah.
The last game that I bought was Mortal Kombat, the new one, Mortal Kombat 1. I'm a big fan of the series, and I played it for like 3 days, and I realized I just don't have the time for it, and I ended up selling it to somebody locally, which broke my heart that I'm getting to the age where I just don't have the time to sit down for like even an hour or 2 hours to enjoy something that I used to enjoy so much.
Yeah, but to be honest, I do probably spend like 2-3 hours every day on Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes already, right? So it's not like
much,
right.
And I'm sure like people are very happy about that, and it helps everybody. Now on the game, you obviously wouldn't know this, but I'm very big on the let's get Jar Jar Binks into the game. Like
Okay.
that's my thing. People know me as they say justice for Jar Jar. And there's two camps, right? People either really like the idea of him being in the game, or they really just hate him. Where do you fall on that?
I don't hate him. I mean, I wouldn't mind like if they add him to the game, we'd have a whole Gungan faction, right?
Right.
There could be some sort of like Ewok faction or something, just like, a fun faction to play around with, I guess. The only thing is lately, whatever CG like adds to the game, it's kind of useful somewhere or needed for something. And then obviously those people that I don't even like to say word hate because that's quite a strong emotion. Just, dislike him, that they might be forced into it. Same like thing with Inquisitors, like nobody really got on board with Inquisitors, right? And they were like pushing.
Yeah.
But once obviously they released Riva, then suddenly like, oh, I do want Inquisitors.
because she was that good, right? Like
she makes them fun, right? Without her, Inquisitor just not fun to use. They're just not.
A very boring team.
But as soon as you add her, they just become so much fun.
But it's strange, I think, and other people have said this too. Like it's weird that she is the vehicle versus like Grand Inquisitor, right? Like it almost should be switched, and it's almost like they hastily just kept trying to push something to get us on board with it. Now, the other thing, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I guess because they started with Inquisitors before the Kenobi show, so we didn't really know about First Sister, right? So I don't know how they planned that.
Do you follow Star Wars outside of like the Disney shows and like I don't read the books very often. I don't read the comics. No, just the Disney stuff and the Star stuff.
Just whatever's on Disney Plus, basically.
So you're like me. We're like, it's Star Wars is great, but there's just too much out there. And I mean,
I did play the Knights of Old Republic. Those were the first Star Wars games I played, the first and the second one. That kind of, really got me as well a little bit more into Star Wars, those games.
Yeah. Now, is there a character that you are like you're waiting for? Like someone who's my Jar Jar, BitDynasty has who?
No, I mean, I think it would be good to have a Galactic. That's what I would like to have, but it's not like, oh, I want him. I think about it every day. But if you would ask me, yeah, I would like to have Galactic Legend Mando and his new shape as well would be nice.
I think he's coming. I think Mando, Ahsoka, and Thrawn. Watch out for them. I think now that the show is maybe pushing more towards Bo-Katan, though, that maybe he's not going to be a Galactic Legend, but we're going to see another one.
Yeah, maybe down the line, 2-3 years time, because apparently what Mando and Grogu are getting their own movie, right? So maybe they will wait for that to push, because I don't think now that they released a Bo that they would do more Mando stuff. I just got a feeling they did a little bit of Mando stuff because that's what they've been doing it lately, right? They go like 3-4 units, leads up to another legendary or whatever, and then they move on to the next thing. And now we got Bo, so I think they're done with the Mando stuff for the time being.
Well, I'm hoping 25th anniversary of Phantom Menace, so I'm on board and I'm excited and hoping that we get my character that I want. Outside of the game, what do you do for fun outside? Not to
For
put you on the
fun.
spot. I know, right? As we get older, we're like, what is fun? Okay,
No,
so
I mean,
for example,
the thing is that you know, the job that I do, I don't really see this job because I enjoy doing it. So it's not like I have a need, oh, now I have to go and do something for fun, if you will. But otherwise, I do love to travel a lot. Both wife and I, we like to travel, so you know, just going around seeing different places and things like that. So that's one part, and then part of, you know, traveling is a bit of photography, so you know, taking photos and stuff. And otherwise, I also follow basketball, the NBA league. I follow as
okay.
well. I have NBA league pass, so you know, almost, well, watch 2-3 games a week or something. I don't watch like
Are you
everything.
on college with March Madness?
No.
No, no.
No, I think that's more of a US
Yeah, yeah.
thing, probably.
Um,
Basically, yeah, what I do.
so when it comes to I literally had this conversation this morning with somebody when it comes to traveling, and we were arguing over it. He was telling me that he is the kind of person who has like a folder and itinerary and all of these places that they want to go. And I was telling him that I just like to explore the local area and find what locals in a place are doing. I don't care about tourist traps. I don't care to see monuments. I just want to eat good food and kind of feel like part of the community. Um, where do you fall when you travel?
I mean, I do my research ahead of the time, obviously. Try to find the places I want to visit. In terms of what I'm looking for is more like nature stuff. So, you
Okay.
know, mountains, coast, by the coast, beaches, woodlands, forests, you know, things like that. More going out, trying to find a place in nature where there's maybe not so many people, just to get some you know, quiet place to relax a little bit. Because I find, like, you know, going to cities and architecture, food, or whatever is like, after you've been to a few places, you just kind of see it's all kind of the same, more or less,
Yeah.
if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I think
Apart maybe if you go to some like ancient sites where, you know, there were differences between ancient civilizations these days because of globalization. It's just like more or less wherever you go, you get similar
it's all the
kind of
same.
experience. Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting to hear that, just because you know, again, we're people that are on this game constantly and we're connected constantly. And your big idea is, you know, I want to get away from that, and I want to get away from people. I want to get away from connectivity. And then meanwhile, one of your biggest hobbies is, you know, I'm interacting with people constantly, and helping these people constantly. So it's kind of like a juxtaposition of two different yous. And it's kind of cool. And I think that's the point of why I do this, is that to find these things out about people and get that other layer, rather than what we just see online.
Yeah, you know, you have to find balance in your life, right? If you are certain amount all the time doing something connected, then you have to find a time where you kind of disconnect from that sort of thing. Yeah.
It can definitely be a struggle, right? Like I'm right now glancing over at my phone like this, seeing if my wife has texted me at all, and we're going to the movies later, and I have to make sure my phone is completely nowhere near me, because you just get that twitch, you know what I mean? Like I have to look. What if I have an email? What if I have this?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like with the mobile games, sometimes it's fine. It's difficult to find a way to disconnect from it, right? Because it's on your phone, and your phone is with you all the time.
All the time. Now, okay, good. So I guess the one other thing I wanted to ask you, and I kind of alluded to this a little bit earlier, is I know you don't play any other games. I agree with you. Most mobile games are awful, and they're very predatory. And I think a lot of people think that Star Wars is very predatory, and to some extent it is, but it's also very manageable if you do it right. If is the idea of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, is Star Wars what kind of pulled you in? Is it the game that pulled you in? Is it a mix of both? If there was a game in a property that you didn't really connect with, but the game was just as good and Star Wars was gone, do you think you'd migrate over to that, or you're just, I'm done?
No. It's just purely because of Star Wars, to be honest. Because I'm constantly being approached by like other companies. Hey, we have a new game coming up. Are you interested in doing some videos on it? I'm like, sure, let me check it out. And I'm like, no. I'm back.
Yeah.
Am I back?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know if you've heard, but I said I'm constantly like being contacted by other developers. Hey, do you want to check out our brand new game and things like that? I always have a look, because you never know. But as I said, I enjoy story-driven games, and with mobile, there isn't really a huge emphasis on like creating an engaging story that you participate in.
Yeah.
So mostly I just turn them down. So if this game like wouldn't be Star Wars, that there's no way I think I would be playing it. Because like here in Star Wars, you can kind of get away without having a story, because you already know stories of these characters. So we don't need a story to build a relationship with a character, because we already know the story. But if you're a game developer approaching me to cover a game with just some random characters you made up, I have no connection to them, right? So it's going to be hard for me to get excited about it. And I feel like when you create content, you need to create content that you feel passionate about, because anyway, content creation is a way of expressing yourself. So how can you create, if you are trying to create content, you don't feel passionate about something, people will not enjoy the content, right? Because it's just going to be because they pay me to make the content or something, right? So
I think it's really cool to hear from you, especially, again, as one of the really most beloved content creators here. I've been, doing text posts for years and years and years, and the majority of my following is on my text, and I just kind of started the YouTube stuff, and I've been so resistant to it, because I feel like a lot of creators, there's not an authenticity, and that has always been very important to me, and that's kind of why I'm doing this, and it's kind of why I do very limited videos, and there's no like running around or craziness. So it's cool to hear, even though the other companies are saying, hey, we'll give you money, we want you to endorse this product, we want you to do this, that you're taking a stance and saying, no, that's not me.
Yeah, because like I said, if you don't like it, you can. We're back. Yeah, sorry, I said I'm traveling again.
That's completely fine. I don't normally edit my videos at all, and I just do it as is, but I'll go in actually today and I'll take out some of that space. Yeah,
because I'm on an island, like and they don't have like landline internet. It's all mobile internet, and you know how mobile stuff is. Sometimes it works, sometimes don't.
I was relying on that a few weeks ago. My brother got married in Korea, so I was there relying 100% on what my phone could do, because I didn't have access to any of that stuff. So I mean, Korea is more connected than an island, but still, I understand that. With that said, I told you earlier, I didn't want to take up too much of your time. I know that you're busy. I appreciate you putting some trust into me. I don't think that there's a single person listening to this that doesn't already know who you are, but on the off chance that they don't, go check out BitDynasty, because if you want to get on the more competitive level of this game, and you want videos that there's no bull crap, there's no having to listen to huge stories to get to like the recipe, right? You've got everything. Your channel is just so in depth, and it's perfectly aligned to the average gamer, which is really cool. And just want to say, thanks again.
Yeah, no, I mean, thanks for reaching out. It's always, I always enjoy talking, Star Wars to fellow community members. It's always fun, yeah. And yeah, obviously, go and subscribe to Egnards channel. if you're not yet subscribed yet, if you want a little bit watch a little bit different type of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes content, definitely I had a look at some of his videos, and definitely there's lots of interesting stuff there as well.
Too nice, but thank you. All right.
No worries.